Welcome back to Patriot Network TV. It's time to talk about the macro economy and the global economy. There are some lessons that everyone should be gleaning from the situation in Greece. Lesson number one, the Bismarckian welfare state, as promised by Otto von Bismarck when he brought, the great Prussian Juncker who united the peoples into Germany, into the country of Germany. All of the Prussian, all of the Junkers, all of the various people that Bismarck united under the promise of the social welfare state have found out a very serious lesson, and that is socialism is a wonderful process and plan right up until you run out of other people's money. At the point that you run out of everybody else's money, socialism stinks to high heaven. In Greece, where people were promised the right, the entitlement to retire at age 52 with 100% of their pay, 100% of medical, dental, vision, Greece is the insight as to what's wrong in California. If you want to know what's going to happen in California over the next 36 months, the next 48 months, the next 60 months, look at Greece. California is going to be forced to deny promises that have been made to public sector employees, public union employees, retired teachers, retired college professors, everyone in the municipal and state retirement system in the state of California is going to be told the bitter, awful truth. Their retirement is unfunded. And much in the same way that in Greece, you saw people throwing Molotov cocktails and burning down banks and threatening to sue, and we're going to do all these things. Well, I'll tell you what you didn't do. You didn't fund your pensions. What's working against Greece and what's working against California is compound interest. What should have worked for Greece and for California was compound interest. But to have compound interest work for you, you have to take your own money, you have to be a capitalist, and you have to take your own earnings, and the first 10% of every dollar you earn, every buck that comes in at dimes going into the market. And you start that at 18 and you do that to when you retire at 68. For 50 years, you get the power of compound interest. If you do that, you don't need the state of California, you don't need Social Security, you don't need any of the other stuff. The market will take care of you. Now, for those people sitting there going, yeah, but Tara, the market dropped. Yesterday the market went from 10,005 down to 9,000 and, everybody's worried about the market. Tell me what the market would be doing if there were 300 million Americans invested in the market, giving it 10% of every paycheck every other Friday. What would the market do in America if instead of the income tax, which is a job buster instead of a job builder, what if we had a fair tax where you paid taxes to the federal government when you bought things? How many tens of trillions of dollars would flood into the United States if we were the safe haven on earth for investment, which we used to be, but currently we're not because of the rampant spending? What's the current deficit heading toward? Not 1.5 trillion. No, that's being revised up. It's looking like a $2 trillion deficit on a single operating year. Ask yourself how long that's sustainable. If things go as CBO now predicts at the end of 8 years of Mr. Obama, the federal debt of the United States will be 30 trillion. Just the interest on the debt will be more than the entire U.S. federal budget is today. Ask yourself, what about Greece sounds familiar with having a deficit of almost $2 trillion? In a GDP, pick a number, 10, 12, 15 trillion, doesn't matter. 2 trillion is too much, period. California is the next big bankruptcy. Greece has already gone under. California is next. If you're retired from the state of California, you better start looking very seriously at the extent to which your retirement has been funded. Fortune and Forbes both have written articles about how there are multiple trillions of dollars in unfunded liability for public sector pensions from California. You should look, and I'm not trying to scare you, but if you're a retired firefighter, police officer, teacher, professor, any public sector person, you better be checking and making sure that your pension's fully funded. If it's not, you better be reassessing your relationship to reality. Now, last thought on this. Social Security is an unfunded liability. At the U.S. federal budget level, there is somewhere between $108 trillion and $170 trillion in unfunded liability and debt. Who is going to be first on the chopping block to have their benefits cut once everybody figures out that the cupboard is bare? There is no money in Social Security. There's not a dime there, not one dime. There are IOUs to sell Treasury bills. When nobody on earth wants to buy our Treasury bill, what's going to happen to the retirement you were promised by both parties? What's going to happen to that? It's time to start asking hard, tough questions. If you start to ask these questions and look fearlessly for the answer, you're going to find out that you have been betrayed. Whether you're far left or far right, the government of the United States, the Congress of the United States has betrayed you. They have sold your retirement down the river. We'll talk more about this next time.